Appreciate you staying with us. Of course, Southern Footy League, the finals format's about to begin. As always, the Press, Craig Warman joins us. Craig.
Hello, boys. How are you?
It was a big weekend of footy, mate.
Oh, very big weekend, leading into what promises to be a very exciting final round.
Mate, a couple of teams flexed their muscles. Flagstaff Hill certainly did against Noarlunga, and Ranella certainly did against Port Noarlunga. Surprised by the Noarlunga Flagstaff margin? I mean,
well, we actually
11
had,
goals.
as I said last week, that was our broadcast game. We were expecting a real tight tussle on the back of Noarlunga knocking off Ranella the week before, pretty convincingly. Flagstaff Hill, they just didn't waste the ball.
No.
Precise, direct.
Yeah.
Once they got out in the open, Noarlunga couldn't catch them.
At Flaggies, please?
At Flaggies,
Okay, yeah.
At home, but in saying that,
no, that's fine.
you know, you still had your Sammy Millers, your Nick Motts, Matt Eagles into the side playing reasonable sort of footy the week before.
Yeah.
Didn't get a sniff.
Just couldn't.
Couldn't raise a gallop basically.
Yeah. Same with Ranella and Port Noarlunga. I mean, that was a bigger margin. 19 goals.
Yeah.
Staggering amount.
Yeah, surprising. But again, Ranella had a few players come back as well from injury.
Yep.
A good lead in for them for what promises to be a terrific round of finals footy.
And the other one was a good result was for Happy Valley. Do they meet again?
Yeah.
They meet this weekend, don't they?
This weekend.
Well, that's a very good win to Happy Valley. That's what's that? 8 goals, 48 points.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a good win.
Yeah, that was over Morpeth Vale, and they meet them on Sunday.
Where do they play?
At Aldinga.
At Aldinga.
In elimination final.
Yeah. We'll come to the finals format in a minute, but your team, Cove, mate, what's going on?
They had a bye.
Had a bye.
I think they had a bye, didn't they? Or did they play on the weekend?
No, they played on the weekend.
Yeah.
Jeez, you're good, aren't you? You're good. Or you're saying they had a bye, they didn't turn up. Which way are you going with it, mate?
But well done to Chrissy's beat.
Oh, absolutely.
We've always said
we've been talking about them. We've been talking them up.
We have. And for them to get a win, albeit in the last game of the season, all bodes well for that winning experience for those young kids leading into next year, because they were a very young side.
A and B grade.
Yeah.
A and B grade. Both had wins. We have been talking them up though, haven't we?
We have.
They've been running. They've been running a couple of sides close, and
they have been due.
Had they kicked straight, I think the week before. I think they had 17 shots to 10 or something, and got beat by a goal or something. So this is in the win. This one. This.
Do you have a few dollars on it, mate? You didn't have a few sneaky dollars on Christie's speech, did you,
mate? You don't bet on.
Gamble responsibly.
Oh, of course, but I don't bet on anything that talks.
Right.
Once they start talking, mate.
So, Mr. Red, you never bet on Mr. Red, did you, mate?
Okay. Mate, they got a little bloke on top who has a chat.
All right, let's have a chat about the finals format. Of course, top 5 in the Southern Footy League. So, qualifying final is on Saturday at Port Noarlunga. Starts with the under-13s all the way through to A grade. I know the gates open down there at Port Noarlunga at 8 o'clock.
Yep.
And then all the way through.
Wow.
So, then we've got Ranella up against Noarlunga at 2:30.
At
Port Noarlunga.
Oh, Port Noarlunga.
So it's a big game. Ranella,
big oval
some
too.
really good form. Noarlunga, not so good. Who handles the big oval?
Ranella.
Right. So you're going with Ranella?
I'll stick with the Wineflies. Albeit 2 weeks ago, Noarlunga beat them at their ground.
Yeah.
But
And
Port Noarlunga is
comfortably
a different kettle of fish. It's a lot bigger. And as we said, Flaggies, once they got out in the open, you couldn't catch them. Last week, I think the same thing is going to happen. Ranella got some really quick blokes in the middle and around the ground. On a big ground, they're going to be hard to stop.
Yeah.
All right, Sunday, the elimination finals at Aldinga. So we've got Happy Valley up against Morpeth Vale, which you touched on, mate. Of course, they just played on the weekend. Same thing, under-13 elimination finals, under-15s, under-17s, and the B grade there. Gates open at 8 o'clock at Aldinga.
Wow.
Who gets it, Happy Valley or Morpeth Vale, based on last week?
Well, Happy Valley are one of those sides, again, once you let them out in the open, they're a really good, skillful side. I don't think Morpeth Vale at the moment, and you can call it injuries, whatever, but they just don't seem to be coming into the final series in a good vein of form.
They're limping in.
Yeah, they're limping into the final, whereas Happy Valley, last couple of weeks, had really strong wins.
Yeah, they had.
Leading into. So you'd have to go for the Vikings.
And they've beaten them twice, so you would think that they would have a bit of wood on them, and no matter where you play. And an 8-goal win, when they know that they're probably playing, well, they would have known that they're playing again the week after, so you can't say that, Morpeth Vale would have not
not gone
tried
over.
or just rested a few. That would have been an important win for him if you could sneak that last mile.
Well,
around
you know as well as I do, any win leading into a final series
He's a good win.
is a good win.
Form is good form, mate. Now, the women's have a top 4 final as opposed to top 5. So the elimination final for them's at Morphett Vale, Sunday 1:30. Port Noarlunga up against Flaggies. Flaggies has been probably the dominant team this year.
In the second half of the year, by all means, they've started to put some stuff together. Port Noarlunga, unfortunately, have copped a few injuries over the last 4 or 5 weeks. That's actually, and one of the big ones was O'Hanlon. She did an ACL about 3 weeks ago, and she was the driving force behind Porties, as well as their big ruckman. Flaggies at this time of the year just grow another leg. They are the current premiers, so you tip them to beat Porties.
Geez, they're a powerful club at the moment, aren't they? So qualifying final, mate, Christie's Beach versus Ranella. That one's at Flagstaff Hill on Sunday at 1:30. That's pretty obviously it's Ranella, but you tell me what you think, mate.
No, I think Christie's have been the top of the women's table all year. They played Ranella about 3 weeks ago. Ranella had a few injuries, but for consistency, you'd have to stick with the Saints. They've had a very, very good year and have taken all before them. So I'll stick with the Saints in that one.
Christie's Beach?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope your air conditioning doesn't break down the next couple of weeks, mate, because
Exactly right.
don't give Bill a call, mate, because you will get nothing. Mate, as always.
Well, Billy will be happy because his boys will win on the Saturday.
Oh, so he'll be okay with that. Hey, just quickly, mate, summing up the season so far, I know we're going into the finals, a really exciting time for the Southern Footy League. What's been a couple of the most pleasing things for the Southern Footy League this year?
Oh, look, I think the games that were, when you've looked over previous years, the disparity in scores and whatever, you can go into our league now and you've got to be on your game.
Yep.
You've got to be on. So the fact that all of our sides are improving, and up until 2 weeks ago, we didn't have a top 5.
Yeah.
So that is one of the pleasing aspects. And when you look at it, that's not just in the A grade; it's in all of our grades.
Goes all the way down.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So that's been really pleasing. And of course, we're ahead of the game in regards to participation. We've just finished doing our mini league carnivals, like last Sunday. Probably 2,000 people down at Aldinga watching under 12s play a lightning carnival. It's up and about, well and truly. But some big news, and I won't say too much, but there's some big news coming as well for 2024.
Yeah, I've got a sneaky suspicion what that is. And I was going to say, I want you to think about this for a week and have an answer for me when you come back in, but
I haven't accepted yet, so
you're not
have to wait.
You're not the big news, mate.
Oh,
no, all right. You would be the biggest news,
right,
mate. If
You might be the big team.
As always, mate, a pleasure to talk to you. Get down and support your teams this weekend. Southern Footy League
Big weekend.
finals begin. It's going to be a monster weekend for the men and the women. Stay with us.